in today's video I'm going to be designing a voicing from scratch and talk a little about what each filter does. On the screen here on my PC I have the TDAI-3400, but the procedure will be the same on all other Lindorff products. The reason I'm using a PC and not the iPad is that for voicing editing the PC is much more convenient. But from the front page here of the browser, I click on Setup and Voicing Setup. And now I will add a new voicing, and I will call it Test 2, because I know I have another one in there called Test. And I add. So now we can see that my new voicing is called Test 2. And there's nothing happening in it. It's completely flat. So I'll be starting by adding a low pass filter. And as you can see, a low pass filter passes the low frequencies and cuts off the high frequencies. Now this would be very unusual to have this frequency response, so I'm going to increase the frequency, and you can see that the frequency moves upwards. And I'll move it further upwards here. And now you can see something here called Q. And the Q is how steep the cutoff is. If you want the cutoff to be steeper, you can increase the Q. And you can see here that you get sort of a bulk here, and then the roll-off is steeper. But you can also decrease the Q, and then you'll get a flatter roll-off, like that. But I will set the Q at 0.7 as this is the default, and I'll probably move the frequency a little bit upwards here, like that. So a filter like this can be used if you have some tweeters that are a little bit over aggressive. So you want to dampen them a little bit in general. So now we have a low pass filter. But as you can see, we have 8 filters, so we can add some more if we like. And I'm going to be doing that. So I click on Filter 2. And now I will do a low shelf filter. And you can see nothing happened, because now we have a gain control here. And with the gain control you can increase or decrease the gain below the frequency shown on the left. So I add some gain now, and you can see, oops, the curves goes up, which means that we are now boosting or gaining the low frequencies below the frequency that is set here, which is 1000 Hertz. I think this is too high, so I'll decrease the frequency, and you can see now that the cutoff moves here. I'll blend it at 200 Hertz here. And again, with the Q, you can decide whether it should be a steep transition or a flat transition. If you want it steep, you increase the Q. And if you want it flatter, you decrease the Q. So with a low Q, you get sort of a flat curve up to the gain that you have set. Perhaps I want a little more gain. 4 dB, that's fine. So now it's very clear what's happening. We get a slow increase of bass, and we cut off the highest frequencies up here. And now to filter 3, because I have more on the agenda. Now we will be doing a parametric filter. Now a parametric filter is addressing frequencies around a frequency that you decide. Again, it's set default at 1000 Hertz, but I will be moving it a little bit upwards to maybe, that was a bit too high. Let's say 2620. Again, you can see nothing is happening because gain is 0. But I want to damp it a little bit. And that's very clear what's happening here. That around the frequency that I set here, it's going to be damped. And if you think this is too dramatic, you can of course increase the gain a little bit again, Or if you want more, decrease the gain, or give it a negative value. I think maybe this is addressing a little bit too wide a frequency range. So I increase the Q to get steeper slopes, as you see here. Now I'm at a Q of 1.67, and you can see that the dip is much, much narrower. And this can be useful if you have a frequency that's really irritating you. Perhaps there's something with your room or your speakers that means that this frequency is sort of shouting at you. Often this can happen with vocals. Vocals are often where your ear is most sensitive, around 2.5 to 3000 hertz. So, now we have 3 different filters in the same voicing. You cannot hear this yet because we have not saved the voicing, so that's what I'm going to be doing now. I roll down here and click on Save Voicing. Okay. If I go to the available voicings list up here and scroll down, you will see that my test 2 voicing is at the bottom of the list. Right. I still can't hear anything of the voicing. To do that, I need to go to the home page, and with voicing here, I should be finding my test 2 voicing, and I will. So now that is active and you can hear what I've been doing.